Hi, everybody. Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. Make sure my volume is up. Never remember to check my system settings because sometimes the volume is too quiet. And it seems to default. I don't know if it affects anything, but the input volume in my settings kind of has its own mind and goes back to a middle ground. So sometimes it helps if I push it up all the way. And I don't know if it really makes a difference, but it makes me feel like it makes a difference. Anyway, let me say hi to some people. We're at a new time today. I decided to go from 12:05 to 1 o'clock because I messed up last week and recorded the whole thing for almost an hour. And I hadn't clicked go live. So I redid the whole thing at 1 o'clock, and I had more people in the chat than I did an hour earlier. So I thought, well, maybe I should go from 1 to 2 and launch right into Simon's show at the Hermit's Cave. And look who I see first in the chat room today is Simon from the Hermit's Cave. So welcome. And then we also have SCB. Gotta get my glasses for the small print. Oh no, and you're due on at 7 p.m. Hi, Simon. Hi, Robin, and everyone. Spring is in the air. Yeah, it's 1:02 now here in the afternoon in New York City, and that's going to change tonight. We're having our spring ahead late this evening. So tomorrow, the hours, we lose an hour, which I'm not thrilled about, but what the hell. Hello, Red Wing, Elspeth, Saskia, SCB, Rolf, and Ange, Roots and Waves. Hello. So it's nice to see everybody. Simon says, you're a few weeks ahead of us. I guess they changed the time a few weeks later in the UK. I think the whole thing's a big nuisance. I'm sort of surprised that of all the things, stupid things that Trump's doing away with, why he hasn't done away with that, because that seems sort of like the logically most stupid thing to hang on to, I think. But that's just my opinion. It'd be less confusing, I think, if we all were on the same time and didn't switch it back and forth with the seasons. I know it changes things in the evenings, we have later evening, earlier evening. We'd adjust to that. We adjust already, tomorrow night, let's see, I guess spring ahead, it will be darker earlier or later? Later? I don't know. See, I'm confused. Hello, Essence of the Moon. Anyway, I used to get upset about it because I used to have to change all my clocks. Well, I don't have any clocks anymore. All my clocks are digital clocks hooked into my computer, my phone, my internet, and they all change automatically. So I don't even need to think about it anymore. I just kind of wake up and there I am. I'm either sleepy, feeling more sleepy than usual or less sleepy, depending on whether I've gained or lost an hour. Hello, M.A. But anyway, this whole thing had me thinking about spring, and I have no particular topic on my mind today, but I've been doing a little thinking about spring cleaning, house cleaning, clear outs, that kind of thing. So I started pulling decks, and this isn't so much about getting rid of particular decks, but what reasons you might look at this like second looks at decks, or why to keep them or why to let them go. It's more about the reasons than it is the decks in particular. But I'm building up a sack full of decks to let go, and they're not because I don't like them. You know, there are many reasons, and I'm sure all of you have lots of different reasons for hanging on to decks or letting them go. I periodically have to look at my shelf space and what's left of it and what to get rid of. Now, I'm also up for a renewal lease, and my landlord, who's tries to find any excuse to harass me, is concerned about the weight limit in my apartment on the structure, which sounds like a petty, ridiculous argument to me. It's like, I've been here for 46 years, I think. I haven't changed anything substantially. I do have, I only have a half-size refrigerator and no stove. So I don't even have that kind of appliance weight that other apartments have. But you can see around me, there is sort of stacks and clutter of things like books. I've got books, I've got CDs, I've got compact discs. Oh, that's the same thing. DVDs, and now tarot decks. And, you know, every once in a while I have to get rid of some books or get rid of some decks to make space for new stuff. And I'm kind of in that position now because things are like stacking to the point of toppling over. There's just nowhere else to put them. So I go looking at my decks and thinking, well, how do I decide what to get rid of? Well, I look at decks, I think, I haven't used that in 2 years, or I never draw that one out. And there were a couple that I had added that I've gotten over the last year, and I went to look at them again, and I thought, you know, even though I haven't drawn these, they're too beautiful to let go just yet. So one of them was the, oh my Lord, the lighting's terrible in here. The Mind's Eye Tarot, which many of you might know is fairly recent. Beautiful, beautiful deck on linen cardstock. Beautiful color palette, very delicate images. And I thought, it's gorgeous, but I never use it. I should let it go. And then I started looking at it again. I thought, no, this artwork's just too pretty to let go right now. So I'm going to hold on to this. Another one I got not too long ago was one I saw on Simon's channel, the Tarot of Hearts. And oddly enough, I don't like the image on the box. This is the Strength card, and a lot of people like it. I don't like that particular card. But the art in this deck is so colorful and so beautiful that even though I don't use it, when I drew it out again to thumb through card by card, it was so pretty. I thought, I think I need to hang on to this a while longer because I'm really enjoying just looking at the art. Apartment's weight contents now, like it's airline luggage. What on earth? Yeah, your landlord's not a nice person, it seems. Yeah. Well, he's got motivation. I'm the oldest person in the building paying the least amount of rent. I've been here since the 70s, and brace yourself. I'm only paying $617 a month. I'm also supplemented by the government as a senior. I have my rent frozen because I have no income other than my Social Security. And the other people in comparable apartments to mine are paying around $3,000 a month. And most of the people in the building are students at NYU. So I don't know if through loans or their parents or whatever are paying enormous rents. So he's a greedy guy. And this is, this was a rat hole when I moved in. He wasn't the landlord then. There have been 2 landlords since, but he's never made any improvements on the place other than replace the door with a metal fire door that I didn't even want because they had to by code restrictions. But anyway, yeah, so it's like, and I never ask for anything. I never complain. Whenever they have to do repairs, I prefer they didn't, because the workmen make more of a mess when they come and leave than just leaving it alone. Anyway, I didn't mean to be bitching about my apartment. So, but yeah, so from time to time I do get rid of things, and I'm looking at things now, like what can I get rid of? And I have a sack full of decks I thought I would show to you. And I'm not really looking for customers for these decks. I'm just sort of showing you the reasons behind why I'm letting them go. So here's a random draw from the bag. First one out is, this has been sitting on a little rolling table next to my bed for a while, the Essential Tarot. And I think this is a really pretty deck. One of the reasons I like the hard cardboard box, but it's got one of those bottom slide out things that the heavy weight just like falls right out when you pick it up, and that can be a plus and a minus. It's got and very pretty, kind of substantial little book. I'm trying to think who put this out. Sterling Ethos. I don't know who that publisher is, but it's kind of like Art Nouveau-ish, I think it's probably still available. Chloe Zarka Grinsner is the author or author of the book, I assume creator of the deck. That's not always the case. Seems to be. The cards are kind of stiff, and they're sort of semi-glossy. I don't really care that much generally for glossy cards. They're not real good for showing on screen because of all the reflection. But I really like the color and the art design in this deck. It's more on the pippish side, and I tend really not to use it. But I think probably the reason I'm letting this go, besides the fact that I don't reach for it, is the card stock kind of makes me not reach for it. It just is not that comfortable for me to shuffle and handle and deal with glossy, stiff cardstock. And then again, the pippish nature of it. I don't mind pip decks so much, but some I handle better than others. And it has some interesting art that's sort of like a little like Art Nouveau, a little like Art Deco, a little bit like Continental from the 1920s or 30s. Sometimes there's a little bit of, here's a little throwback to, I don't know, was it the 1800s, 1700s? I don't know. I think it was a fairly reasonably priced deck when I got it. Oops. Those are the backs. Anyway, I'm going to let this one go because I don't draw it out. I don't use it. And that's the main reason I'm letting these go, is because they are not used. And there are different reasons as to why they're not used, but this one's mostly cardstock and the inaccessibility of the pips. SCB, if the card stock's too stiff, it really hurts my fingers. L. Phillips 3000 is a small one bedroom now. It's awful. Hey, Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot, welcome. $3,000. Who has that per month? Yeah. Maybe if you're sharing spaces, I don't know. I mean, this is a studio, and it's a tiny studio. It's 8 by 23 feet, one long room. Lori from Craggy Brook put out a video out about this deck this week. Not for me. Yeah. Okay, next thing. This is another deck in that same mode. This is from 6th and Spring Books. This has another hard box. I like the hard boxes, but I don't know if I like these slide out bottom ones. This is the Yarn Tarot, and this is a very interesting one for crocheters, knitters, spinners, and weavers. And I got this sort of thematically because I do crochet, and it has, I guess, maybe a certain appeal to people that pursue those activities. But I don't know. The little book inside is a hardcover book, which is nice. We don't get that too often with decks. And it's nicely done, about a page for each card, upright and reversal, a couple of spreads, just sort of ordinary stuff. The cardstock I don't like. It's the cardstock that's popular these days, but I don't care for it. It's a matte stock. It's stiff. I don't know why everybody loves these cards so much, this cardstock so much. I like a cardstock that glides and doesn't clump. I mean, you can see these are kind of sticking and clumping together a little bit. I need, when I overhand shuffle, I need them to easily fall into place. Well, this is kind of doing that. This isn't too bad. It's not as bad as some others I have. I think for me, this one, it's a combination, again, of cardstock and of the imagery. Now, the backs are pretty matte. The front have a very slight sheen, but they don't feel like they have any lamination. Here's some of the cards. 10 of Swords. So you've got, see, knitting needles, balls of yarn. Here's the Lovers. We got any? Don't see any knitting stuff in there. Maybe they didn't do that with the majors. The Empress. This is kind of sort of hard edge design, which I don't know if it's exactly, I guess it might be considered vector art, which isn't popular with some. I don't mind it. I like stylized art, so I'm okay with that. And I kind of like the autumn coloring, but pippish again. 3 of Cups. Cups are spindles, yarn spindles. Death. Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles are weaving looms. I don't know if you can see, that's a loom with yarn stretched across it. Queen of Wands. Wands are crochet hooks. And it's not bad. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's kind of, if you're into like textile art and you're into autumn colors, this might be a fun deck to play with in the autumn if you're crafting in the autumn towards Christmas. But what does that have to do with tarot? I mean, I don't generally do themed or seasonal decks anyway. So I don't know. It's one of those decks, you know, given picking up a tarot deck or on yarn or some yarn and a crochet hook, I tend to go more towards the yarn and the crochet hook. If I'm doing tarot, I want to pick up a tarot deck that I relate to more, and crochet is just not a big enough part of my world to engage me with a tarot deck of similar focus. So yeah, I'm going to let this one go. It's nice artwork. It's just, I don't know, the palette's a little washed out, a little dry for me. What is it? Anyone use fanning powder? I put fanning powder on that cardstock, or I don't use them. I haven't invested in fanning powder. It's a powder you can buy. I'm not sure what it's created for. I think it might be for like magicians that use card tricks or something. Is to make cards glide and slide better. But it sounds to me like another excuse to make a big powdery mess all over your place. It's like I can't even eat a powdered sugar donut without ruining my clothes. So it's like, do I want to be messing with fanning powder on tarot cards? I don't think so. What else is in the bag? Okay, here's one. This is secondhand, and I really struggled to get hold of this, and I did a trade, and I was thrilled to have it. The Dante Tarot. This came out somewhere around 2000 and went out of print fairly quickly. It was very hard to find. And for that reason alone, I hate to get rid of it, but I don't know about Dante. I don't read about Dante. It's not a typical RWS kind of imagery. It has more, I think, to do with Dante's Inferno, or I'm not even familiar with his writings or his works. And it's one of those low Scarabeo decks with the multiple languages. And for me, that is the biggest deterrent. Although I have some with multiple languages I'm hanging on to until I've heard word recently that they're planning on re-releasing a lot of them without the multi-languages on. I don't know if they're going to go to symbols or all English or how they're going to do that. But when I saw it, I really liked the art style. The problem, I mean, I like the sort of roundness, the smoothness, the shapeliness of the figures in it. It has a really distinct kind of style of art that appealed to me. But I can't read it because for the most part, the images just don't relate to the RWS system. So that and the fact that it's multiple languages, I think I'm going to let it go. And who knows, depending on how many of these out-of-print low Scarabeo decks are being reissued, if it comes back again without the multiple languages, I may end up with it again. But I don't think so, because I still am going to have a problem with how to read it. And it's funny because I do have decks that visually aren't intuitively suggestive of the Rider-Waite-Smith system. And it's sort of the way I read Marseille decks. But for some reason, this one is so counter to that. It's not even abstract. It's like there's action images doing something that's an entirely different action than what I'm used to in the RWS. So it's got to go. I also, around the same time that I found this, I think it was also Lo Scarabeo that put out a Dante tarot that I bought. And it's another one that I don't use because it relates, I think, too much to his literary work and not enough to what I'm used to in tarot. But the imagery, I dragged it out and looked at it again. I thought, oh, it's not really my color palette, but the packaging is so nice and the artwork is so good. Like every one is like a painting in a museum. And I really liked it. And I thought, all right, better hang on to this a while longer. So that one I'm keeping. This one, this is called, oh, I don't even know what this is called. Oh, yes, it's called the Happy Star Tarot. Reason I didn't know is because it's in Russian on this side. I sent to Russia for this. Took a long time to get here. In fact, it took so long that I complained and they sent me a second copy. And then I think a week after the second copy arrived, the first one finally showed up. So I had 2 copies and I gave one of them away and kept the other. Now this is really interesting, but it's a little wacky too. It's again kind of that sort of a stiff cardstock, not as stiff as the other. It's semi-glossy. It's not the same feel as like cards with a sheen or satiny feel the way a lot of decks are. But some of the numbers are askew in a really confusing manner. Like this is the 4 of Swords. 4 of Swords, and you look at it and you think, 4 of Swords? That looks like the RWS's 7 of Swords. Why is it the 4 of Swords? So I don't know what the thinking is behind the concept of this deck, but it's a little screwed up and a little wacky. The art's kind of nice. Everything is kind of bathed in this blue that I don't know if it's sort of a teal blue or what it is. Those are the backs. And actually, beside, this is a weird moon card. It's like a, what do you call these? I guess it's a scarab, but it's a dung beetle, I think. Dung beetle rolling the moon like a big turd ball. You know, what the hell? But some of the images are interesting. And I kind of like the art style. Talk about creepy baby and the sun card. Just like, I don't know. These kids are a little creepy to me, but that's just my taste, I guess. They look very kind of adult in a weird sort of way. I don't know. This one is, okay, this one works, the 6 of Swords. Okay, that makes sense. I do like the quality of some of the images. Here's another, see, let me confuse you. The 7 of Cups, isn't that our 4 of Cups? Why is that the 7 of Cups? So here it's a case where I like the art style, but I don't understand the reassignment of some of these images. And to top that off, 1 or 2 of the cards in the deck are glossy. Like, why is one card in the deck? No, this is the 4 of Cups instead of the 7 of Cups, and it's got glossy lamination on it, and the other cards don't. This is, I mean, it's just, it would annoy Simon. It annoys me too. It's just, it's just a crazy deck. I don't even know. I got rid of the other copy. I don't know why I held on to this one, but it's time to go. So that's the Happy Star Tarot. It's not so happy for me. Next is the Lilliford Tarot. And this is really pretty. I mean, I love the box, you know, with the little insert there. Let's see who published this one. This is Little Darkness. Marion Constantine, Little Darkness. It's a nice box. It's got some of that foil embellishment on it, on the box, and on the cards. I don't like the backs of the cards. It's like way too much action going on there for me. The cards are a nice size. I was going to say they don't look like they're the same tarot size, but well, they're a little bit smaller. Yeah, they're a little shorter, which I kind of like. And I like the artwork. I don't know that I like the metallic embellishment. They're not gilt edged or anything. They have little gilding on the cards. They're really playful. I guess it's watercolor, really pretty kind of images. And I don't know, this is a borderline one for me because I think these are a comfortable size. I like the sort of whimsy of the art, but it's just one that I haven't drawn out to use. And maybe it's because I've gotten too many decks in too short a time, so I don't use them all. And I'm just not, I don't know. It's not even, it's funny because this is not my favorite card stock. Let's see if it shuffles. The shuffle's pretty decent. I'm just not drawn to pull this out. Simon loves the backs, and MA does too. We all have inexplicable buying moments. Yeah, I think, yeah, what made me buy this? I think I really like the style of the watercolor, and I like the palette. I don't usually like metallics on cards, and that kind of, I mean, because there's a kind of a soft texture to the watercolor that when you get a hard edge of cold metal up against it, like a razor blade, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work for me so much. But I do like these, although all the images are sort of like horned, kind of devil-like figures, if you're into that kind of thing. And this is mostly kind of pinks and blues or reds and blues. I don't know. I have to ask myself, if I were to hang on to this, do I think I'd find myself at some point drawing it out for use? Because I'm looking at the cards now and thinking, gee, these are really pretty. Maybe I should hold on to this. But I don't get the sense that it's going to do anything for me. I don't get the sense that I will be drawing this out to use. So I think I'm going to let it go. It's not out of print, I don't think. And one of the problems with getting rid of decks too is if you're not truly ready and you end up buying them back again later, that's a real problem. I only have a couple more. Might be a short show today. What time is it? 11:36. Now this one is another one, like the Dante Tarot. I'm reluctant to let this go because it's out of print and hard to get. It's scarce. It's the Angel Tarot. Do you guys know this one? And I paid quite a bit of money for this, but it's one that I don't use. It was published, I think, in Japan, and I believe there are 2 different editions of it. Mine has this metallic gold back design. And this is sort of kind of a Marseille style deck. It's really a pip deck. It's not arranged like Marseille. But the thing about it is it uses, besides the 4 elements, it also adds in for the wands or batons, the club symbol from playing cards. So you've got clubs, you've got hearts, and see in the corner there. So, I mean, if you wanted to use a pip deck and sort of like relate it to Marseille and playing cards, maybe this would be a good deck to play with. I don't know. The colors are nice and the patterns are pretty. I guess I've got this sort of in order. Let me jump to some. Okay, here are some swords, and the swords. Where am I looking? Oh, okay. There's a spade right in the middle. Swords. So the arrangements aren't the same as the Marseille. The feel of it is similar. The previous deck reminded me of that one I can't think of. You mean the Lillifer? What's the name of the award-winning deck with oblong cards with reddish backs? Is that the Johanna House or something? Oh, Luminous Void. Oh, right. Luminous Void, isn't that the one that's like cold capsules? There's sort of rounded, no corners. It's like a big, long kind of oval, but looks like a contact pill, cold capsule pill. I never liked those shaped decks. I find them really difficult to shuffle and roll away. Okay, swords. Oh, it looks like I've got this in order. I should keep it in order, or I guess I should reorder these before I let them go so people don't have to struggle to make sure everything's there. So here for cups, we've got hearts. I'm not sure how much of a plus or minus this is to somebody wanting to read with playing cards versus tarot versus Marseille. I don't know if it makes any difference, really. Here we have diamonds for the coins. The lovers. Yeah, I don't think there's any, well, the majors don't really apply to the playing card suits, so that's not an issue. Actually, this kind of reminds me of, I'm trying to remember the name of the Fournier deck that I have that has a palette similar to this. It's not a Spanish one, I don't think, but I can't think of the name. It's one that I like and I still have. That's another one maybe I should think about whether I want to let it go or not. Anyway, this one apparently is kind of in demand and sought after. I hate selling stuff though. I hate going through that whole business of like listing it online and or doing sells or trades, and mostly I don't. Well, there's the negotiation, there's the payment, there's the packing, there's the trip to the post office, the standing and waiting in line. Ugh, who needs the hassle? Previously, I've just donated them to others, but I don't have people near me that are looking to be donated to. This is the last one I'm going to share today, so I'll be out of here pretty early. Let's see. The art figures remind me of that previous deck. Yes, that's the one. Very sanitized lovers. Okay, this one, this is the Age of Witchery, and I got this last fall, and I was really intrigued by it. I think it was an indie deck. And the thing I liked about it is it was similar to Patrick Valenza's Oracle of Black Enchantment. They're brown cards, and they're sort of like it feels kind of like they're on brown paper, parchment paper, butcher paper, whatever you want to call it. And I like that. It's a pip deck, though. And it's partially what reminds me of Patrick's Mildred's deck in a way, or no, Black Enchantment is the wood block kind of quality on some of the cards, because I think these are either wood or linoleum block prints, and it has a real kind of Salem witch trial era feel to the imagery. So here we have the Knight of Roots. Oh, they changed the element suits a little bit. I think roots are, no, I can't remember. I think roots are pentacles, or are they wands? I think they're pentacles. We have roots. Here's another interesting card. And I first saw this on Danny Mystic's channel. She didn't do a full walkthrough, but she did share. Knight of Blades. Blades are obviously swords. Yeah, I think roots are pentacles. The roots I kind of like because they're like, especially on the pip cards, they are like root vegetables and mandrake roots and interesting kind of stuff. But they have, I think what I didn't like about this so much is that the pip cards are kind of like cut and copied and edited and stamped arrangements. They're not, they're a little bit too lazily done. So here we have the star. But there's a weird kind of primitive crudeness about this that I like, the spookiness, the hermit. But see, here's what I mean. Like, look at the pips. These are vessels, are the cups, which is like sort of a alchemical kind of a thing, I guess. But just a little boring. Queen of Blades. I think I like the mystique, the mystery about this deck. Here is the 10 of Roots. You see what I mean? It looks like Some of them are just copied and then mirror flipped. It's just, it's a little bit lazy. I kind of like this too because they have in the rods something that looks like a fork, something that looks like a cane, something that looks like a crutch. So I kind of identified with this. But again, it's a deck maybe I used 3 or 4 times back in the month of October and not since. I don't know that it's anything I would miss. L. Phillips, you want this deck or you won't this deck? You want the definitely wants this deck. Love wood blocks as SCB. Not that I've ever sold a deck, but I do mail them from time to time, says Deanne. Colorful Foresight, connect from within. Hello. Simon has to fly. We'll see you in a few, Simon. So yeah, more roots. I mean, it's kind of weird and primitive and a little creepy, but I did kind of like it. But again, I don't know. It's the pips feel lacking to me, even though we've got different, sort of an array of different symbols. From card to card, the same symbols are copied and stamped. And I was guilty of doing the same thing when I created my own first 78 card deck. My approach was different, but it was meant to show people that it could be easily done in a pip deck with cut, copy, paste, on simple shapes. But I did something a little different because I did the arrangements to kind of mimic or mirror the arrangements of the pips in RWS. So there was a little bit of a hint visually to what I was trying to do. Some of these are really kind of cute in a creepy way. But if any of you have Oracle of Black Enchantment, you might see what I mean about how this looks sort of similar. And maybe this is just enough of an oddball of a deck that I should hang on to it, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling like it's not calling out to me to pick it up and use it. I kind of don't feel like I will particularly miss it. Maybe I should just pull the majors out and use it as a majors only deck for a while and see how I feel about it. That's a possibility. I don't know. Do you ever have decks like that where you love the majors, but you just don't like the minors? Or maybe you have a thing about majors only decks. I don't. I like them. But then there's this thing, if you've got a 78 card deck and you're not using some of the cards that are offered to you, are you comfortable with that? Or do you feel like something's off, something's wrong? I should be open to be able to use that, but I don't know. So that's the Age of Witchery. And that's all I've got in the bag at the moment. I think there will be more as I go through, and maybe in another week or two, I might have some that I might want to share with you all and talk about. I'm curious, though, as to what kinds of things make you hold on to a deck or get rid of a deck. Are they the same things as me? Is it card stock? Is it that you find yourself not reaching for them? It's very rarely a case where I don't like the artwork, because the artwork is enough usually that initially made me buy a deck. But yeah, other reasons, sort of tactile reasons or something, that I'm just not reaching for them, or I'm finding other things, other decks that provide similar things that I want. Deanne keeps everything, but Deanne, you live in a big house, so you've got room for everything. I live in one room, so yeah, but I don't know. That's not really the case. I mean, I'm sure, Deanne, that you have decks in your place that you never reach for, or maybe you've only reached for once in the last 4 years or something. I could be wrong, but that's the way it happens to me. I think a lot of us get caught up in the most recent purchases, or we have decks that we use that we're drawn to so much that we use them over and over until we use them out. They wear out their welcome. And I mean, currently, I use decks that I carry in my shoulder bag when I go to have coffee. I have 4 decks in the bag. I get the same 4 decks. I use them all the time. 2 of them are my Majors Only and my Lenormand decks. I use those together. And then I have my favorite, a Manuscript of Initiations. I use that every time. And then I also have a pocket-sized RWS that I use that sometimes are referred to. Now, is that all of them? Maybe I've trimmed it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Yeah, I guess that's it. But yeah, I use them all the time, over and over. Jane, hello, Jane. Jane uses those 2 a lot. They're in her favorites. Deanne loves shopping her shelves. Rolf has not sold a deck yet, gave one away. Try to be picky, but it's so tough. Put them aside and shop my decks on rainy days, some I've forgotten about. Deanne only has a small tarot room. It's bursting at the seams. Well, your tarot room, from what I can tell of it, is about half the size of my whole apartment. So, you know, when you think I've lived in a place twice the size of your tarot room, Deanne, for 46 years, think about that. And it can't all be tarot decks. I do have to have some other things in here. So anyway, what is it? 1:54. I want to give you all time to grab a beverage and pop over and visit with Simon if you want to at the Hermit's Cave. He should be starting in just a few minutes. So thank you all for popping in and, spending a little bit of time with me. I didn't have anything particularly planned today, topic-wise, but maybe something to think about or reflect on is, if you want to do a spring cleaning, if you want to let decks go, how to go about that. How do you figure out which ones are okay to let go that you're sure you won't buy back again? That they've fallen out of favor. You haven't reached for them. You won't reach for them. It's just, how do you figure that out? I mean, even in this bag of stuff, as I went through, I did look at some cards, And out of the decks that I had, there were 2 or 3 other decks that I pulled back, that I drew back. Another one was the Nicoletta Ciccoli Oracle cards, which I thought, I never use these. I've not even used them once, but I love her art. So should I hold on to it? I don't know. But, I put it back on the shelf for a little while. And those other 2 decks, the Mind's Eye Tarot and the Tarot of Hearts, the art is just so colorful and so delicate and pretty that I felt like I kind of needed that in my portfolio of cards to look at for a while longer. I don't know if I'll use the decks any more than just leafing through pretty images, but it felt like it wasn't quite their time to go yet. How apt, I just unsealed my purgatory stash, says M.A. I have some really crappy decks, go figure, says Jane. Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to let go. All right, I'm going to let you go. You've got about 3 minutes to grab or make a coffee or a tea and then get over there. I recently discovered 2 teas that I didn't care that much about before. I love now with milk. And they're not, one's Earl Grey and the other is chamomile. And those you don't usually have with milk, but as a flavored warm milk beverage, they're really kind of nice. So maybe give them a try if those are teas you don't like. Chamomile tea with milk, Earl Grey tea with milk, kind of cuts the edge off, takes the edge off. See y'all next time. Bye, everybody.